Hey, Three. So we are here talking about your awesome Masters win. I am really excited that you could keep it within the Shrining family. This is Vanguard, and Three, you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, hello. I'm three. This is my second time competing at Masters, and I had some really fun decks that I'm doing a deck tag that's going to come up on the channel as well. But we're here to discuss some of the plays that people were questioning or confused
For sure.
from the Twitch audience. Yeah.
For sure. So you're doing a deck tech, but can you talk through what was at the highest level your strategy towards building decks for this Masters?
At first, I wanted to always ban a Malric, and then was trying to prepare decks that would have a good way of dealing with both. Usually, it would be a control deck and then kind of sprouts
Yep.
was what I was planning on, or priests. It would be unlikely that someone ran all three, but I knew that two of them were coming, and eventually I got to the point where I just we were getting beat so much when trying to find good lists on ladder, so I just ended up doing this anti-list that worked out against Amalric of all decks, this Evolanok or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it was getting a lot of names in the Twitch stream. The what was it? Snakes on a plane was something. There
Yeah,
was the one-turn snakes. There were a lot of people were excited about your snake
snakes on
deck.
snakes on a board.
That's right, absolutely. So
Uh,
so your plan, you and I were prepping for Masters a little bit. Well, you were prepping because I did not qualify this time around.
yeah.
But initially, you were thinking you were gonna ban Amalric, and then you decided not to.
Yeah, it was. I kind of ended up creating lists that I realized what had a pretty good win rate against just Amalric, but this Enoch list had no chance against control whatsoever. So I had to kind of change up my strategy, and I also knew that a lot of people would expect me to ban Amalric. Everyone said, "How is Amalric not banned?" I saw it a lot in Twitch chat. People being really confused. Why is Kaino and Amalric not banned? And the reasoning for that is that's the expected ban, so people would not invest as much powerhouse cards in it, hopefully. And given that my decks had a pretty good win rate against a fully stacked, all Trigons, everything, Amalric, it would be even better, obviously, against something that didn't have this. And my artifact deck, in turn, kind of I worked on it a lot, and on the lockout day, I had a very good run, almost making first if I hadn't played against an Amalric deck that ran Bark Convoys,
That was
knocking me
mine.
down
If
20
you
points.
remember,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
me.
I,
Yep.
do- I, do, I do remember. Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
I was very close at first, but people didn't really make too much notes of that run, thanks to you preventing me from getting first.
Yep.
And then I stopped playing the artifact deck for about a week, and the meta kind of kept going with just Amalric and kind of Sprouts against each other. And in that matchup, Bark Convoy isn't really a card.
Right.
It's decent enough, but Unicorn is so much better at dealing with Radiance and Trigon that there's not really any like um, there's nothing that entices you to actually play this much bulkier but infinite value or infinite Might Emblem remove spell deck if there's no artifacts. So I just kept my artifact deck off the ladder after I tested it and found out it actually worked very well with Amalric. And and those two decks in combination had a pretty good chance of beating most of what I thought was in the meta. And I had to make the decision that Amalric wasn't going to be the scariest deck for me, but control decks, like for example this Advanced Hash with Dragonfires, completely destroys my artifact deck. So there was just like no question what I would ban at that point.
Yeah.
I was pretty confident that there would be Herm Priests, Amalric, or Kainu, like at least two of them in each deck, so I could just target those.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, we're getting some feedback on your end, Three. Can you turn down the volume? That's better. I don't have it anymore. Thank you. And I will have to say that Void Touched subordinate deck that you put together, the Snakes deck. I mean, my goodness, testing that with you the night before Masters, I thought I had become the worst player in the history of Spellweaver because I just could not beat you with anything. And then I was talking to Hall y'all afterwards, and he was like, he had the exact same experience. That was a very, very brutal deck to play against. And I think we might see 1 or 2 examples of it in the videos that we're gonna play through here. But let's start. Let's start by looking at we're gonna mute Fuzz here so that we don't hear him and his commentary. Love your commentary, Fuzz, but it would be way too much if there were 3 of us talking. But we got up on the screen here. I think this is your second match against Adrop. Is that right? This is second round?
It was definitely the closest one, because he was the only one that no, actually, the first game I played, I don't even remember, but that was a pretty one-sided affair. And this was definitely the closest one, because he ended up banning a Malric. The other ones banned Sprouts, because he didn't want to deal with that deck. And then I had my comfort zone deck. This is not the one I'm the most comfortable with, Kain.
Right. This is Jado's list, I believe, right?
Essentially, but I remove Holy Radiances because I had them in my other lists.
Yeah, so props to Jado. Excited that you're back, and thank you for sharing this with everybody. So I just hit play on the video 3, and we are seeing the very end of Adrop's turn. And at this point, things are not looking great for you on board. You have the 1-3, or I think it's a 4-speed Cavalry Field Captain, which is helpful. But you have to make some really difficult decisions here, particularly going up against Adrop with Amalric and the hero power and some pretty strong board presence. Can you just talk us through your thought process on this play?
Yeah, okay. Here I know that he's got hero power coming up, and he possibly has a way of making 4-speed. That's just how it's going to work. So what I want to do here is convince him that he will need to use hero power. Or if he has ambush strike, I'm probably boned at this point. So I used the agent to get my ambush strike back. And then, of course, there is the value play, the taking a chance with putting down the Valor creature, just the fairy, and buffing up my cavalry field. However, given that if he does have ambush strike in that situation, I would be completely doomed. Then I just lose the game. So I did not want to play. I wanted to play around this, knowing that he's only got 1 deck that runs green. I also know that he might have 4 of the ambush strikes and has got 4 cards. But here I am bluffing both double ambush strike, given that I just Diogen 1 back, so I might have drawn a second one. And I also have the option of moving my cavalry field back.
Yeah. Was it ever a consideration for you, I'm going to pause the video for a second, to play that Ray of Righteousness against his Elf Warrior, or did you not even consider it?
In a way, this was me baiting, because I felt like I was a bit behind, so I wanted him to invest more into the Elven Warrior. Yep. Using Ray of Righteousness right now would possibly put me in a worse position later, since he would be more free to commit to the board.
Yeah. And then for the folks who are new to the game, because I think we'll probably have some of them watching this video, I think 90% of beginners would, in this moment, put that fairy under Kayanu as the hero power, and very well might have played the Triangelica Sentinel, just because it's a really great card, and you hear all the time that it's a great card, why not play it? You didn't do that in this moment. Can you talk people through, and particularly right here, why are you not putting the fairy underneath for the hero power?
Essentially, I would need to leave up the mana to bluff the ambush strike. I don't want to spend the ambush strike if he uses his hero power. And I know that he would need to commit more than just his hero power to buff his Elven Warrior, because he wants to get rid of this 3/3.
Right.
And me playing Triangelica or playing Sunrise Fairy, would both, or playing it or putting it under, it would both leave me open to not being able to counter anything that he decides to play next turn, Cavalry Field Captain or Trigon, which I think he ends up playing. So it's a way to, hopefully he won't have the ambush strike, but it's risking your entire tournament on it. I did not really have the balls to do that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to have him second-guessing his own decisions as well. Because I could also have the 2 ambush strikes, so now I'm getting his hero power out of the way, so I can use a power turn later to try to recover. And it works out here as well. Because he commits a lot to the Elven Warrior, and then I can just completely crush him on board.
So let's watch that, and yeah, let's see that play because you do. I think he Trigons the Elven Warrior here, hero powers, tries to kill off your cavalry field captain.
Yeah.
You just retreat
So
it.
then he's playing around my ambush strike, but I have the cavalry field captain ability.
Yep.
But he has to do this, otherwise he needs to get it off my front line because it's constantly threatening him. Because he knows I have the ambush strike, so he needs to get rid of the cavalry field captain. Otherwise, it's just going to eat his creatures one after another.
Right. So if you want to see this in the stream, you can go check out the Spellweaver official stream on Twitch to see how this ends up. You obviously three go on to win this match. We're going to jump now to the finals. And in the finals, you were matched up here against Zadarek. And I'm going to just pause at this moment because this board really does not look good for you. And this is a game that you end up losing. You should not have lost this game, though. And I think it's fairly unbelievable to think, we've heard over and over again how overpowered Amalric is. You've got 6 creatures that you're facing here, and you're about to unleash a turn that really turns around the tide of this match. Even though you don't end up winning, you end up losing to a glitch in this match.
Oh, yeah.
But can you just talk us through, what are you thinking at this moment? I think if I were in your situation, I would have thought that I lost the game at this point. But you clearly are not thinking that way. You come up with something to win it.
Yeah, I know that I'm behind. I can't say anything else, but I also know that there is a lot of potential for combat tricks if I just keep putting drones on the board, and I know that this deck will win if I manage to get to late game without losing, obviously, because it has way more value. He's down to 4 cards. I just played like 3 cards and I have 6 cards left, and I know that if he has Holy Radiance at this point, I'm already lost. Because there is the argument for just starting to upgrade into golems instead of just keeping the drones. But if he's got the Holy Radiance here, I'm out completely. But I do know that his Hermelion list ran at least 2 Holy Radiances in like the top 30 cards. I think he might have even ran all his Holy Radiances in that list. I'm not entirely sure. So it was kind of a high roll betting at this point, because I knew that this kind of board is hard to come back from regardless of what I do.
Do you think that this attack... Sorry, we're getting feedback again. Could you...
Yeah, I'll lower it.
Thank you. Do you think that this attack on his part, does he need to attack into what you have on the board right now?
He does have the option of swinging for face, I suppose, but if he doesn't attack, I would just keep accumulating value. He knows that I can turn my airship into a steel sentient, and I also have my hero power coming up. So I think he is essentially forced to attack. However, how he wants to attack is very complicated at this point. There is the argument for swinging face, but in that case, I could just eat a creature by putting an airship in front and just putting drones behind it, or plenty of other reasons. However, here is a play that also people commented on, where I decide to use my airship to block, but I don't upgrade it to steel sentient. And the reasoning for this is because he might be running an ambush strike, and I can't lose an airship to a 1-mana card at this point. It's just not feasible. But yeah, here you can see the glory of the deck in action, which is a lot of fun, just being able to transform whatever into whatever. And I think I end up blocking the 1/2, which obviously is a great target for ambush strike. I'm not sure if he has it at this point. I don't think he ends up playing it later on in the game either, so maybe he didn't have it at all. But just conserving your board is extremely important with this deck.
So you're able to clear a good number of creatures here. You get a lot of value out of this attack for the most part, and it's going to set up a couple turns, and then we end up at this moment, which I just want you to talk us through. We're at the end of your turn here, I believe. Oh no, this
This
is
is during his turn. He swings in, and I
yeah.
block his things with guards.
So he swings in, block your things with guards.
Again, I play around Ambush Strike because I could have killed his Triangelica, and I was seriously contemplating it for a while, but I still don't. I don't want to get shut down by a Ambush Strike, and then he could hero power, and it would just be misery.
So
Be sure to be able to clear next turn, regardless of what he has in hand.
Right. So he plays a unicorn, and then something happens here, which I love Fuzz to death. I love the folks in the Twitch stream. Nobody really noticed what happened here. Can you talk us through? What I see
basically,
is that
I was
Thr33
sitting there trying to Divine Offering, and all of a sudden he's playing creatures, and I'm just very confused. Because I got the your turn message, and then I saw him draw a card, which didn't make any sense.
So some sort of glitch in the game. We can replay it just in case people want to see this. I'll do this like I don't know if you have this where you live, 3, but in the United States we've got Sports Center where we can replay pretty cool plays. So this is the end of the attack. Thr33 ends up with essentially 2 straight turns. He's going to attack you here. You play the guards. We saw this part already, and then he is going to play another turn. And I'd like you to talk us through, because I think like some people might look at this and say, oh well, like you're down on board anyway. He's winning 20-11. The outcome is probably the same whether or not he gets 2 straight turns. But I actually don't think that it is. So he's going to play that unicorn, and then we're going to see you generate a drone, I think, maybe, and then it just goes straight to his turn again. Let's just pause it at that point, and if you could talk us through how I think you probably would have won the whole game. And I know, to Thr33's credit, he wrote this in the tournament chat, that this was a glitch and that you probably had the victory here. This is the moment where it jumps to him having 2 turns in a row. How would you have played this, and what would it have led to?
So essentially, what I could have done was Divine Offering away any of the cards. No, not any of the cards, but Divine Offering away my Steel Sentient, which seems weird, but it would allow me to go up to 4 levels, have a 5/5 swinging in, and a 3/3. I could play Timea and Dwarven Mortar, shooting the Unicorn down, and then Timeaing up my Saluxio and my Steel Sentient. So I would swing with a 6/6 against his Sentinel and a 4/4 against his Master Hunter. Even given that because he's only supposed to have 1 card. Now he has 2 cards, but that's because he drew a card next round. And it's actually a creature, but I do not know this. It might be an Ambush Strike, because he's been holding up mana for a long time. I think it's a Triangelica or a Moonlight Patrol. Anyways, so I would swing with a 6/6 against his Triangelica Sentinel, guaranteed killing it, and a 4/4 against his Master Hunter, leaving him with, if he has an Ambush Strike, with quite some hit points on board, but not enough to survive he would have 1 hit point left after a Soul Projection on the Steel Sentient.
Yep.
And at that point he would have 1 creature and 0 cards, and I have a bunch of drones in my graveyard that I can just pick up a couple of Steel Sentients to just win the game.
So, unfortunately for you, that doesn't happen. A glitch in the game that only comes up very rarely and happens to hit the most inopportune time in a Masters matchup gives Thr33 2 turns in a row. He ends up winning this game. How are you feeling in that moment?
I was really, really, really pissed, but I also had this kind of like, I'll beat him in the next game. I just want to get straight into the next game. And I also, I don't know, at that point, like, my adrenaline just spiked completely, and I kind of started just writing in Skype with people, like, I was so tilted.
I remember you writing that, yep.
Yeah, because this was the most frustrating thing, because I felt like I'd worked this entire game setting up a board state where I could actually clear him and, like, win on the late game that this deck is supposed to win on. And, like, actually, because I felt like, okay, I got this, I've won, essentially.
Yep.
Before this turn, and then it just skips my turn, and there is no way I can come back. There's just no way, which is one of the reasons why these Valor decks are so good. If they get tempo and you kind of stall out for a turn, you can get screwed very quickly.
Yep, and so that ends up happening. You end up losing this game. So you go to a final round matchup, and it's your Amalric deck against his Hermelion, I believe.
Yeah.
And I've been in this situation before. A number of folks listening to this probably have been, where you're in Masters and you're in the last round and it's winner take all. It's definitely a stressful place to be, but I think this is we're getting to at least one of the key moments here where you block with guards. Can you take us through what's happens here and how this turns the game?
Okay, so essentially he's swinging with a 4/4 and a 3/3, and I am quite certain that he's been stalling out for a couple of turns, so I'm quite certain that I am winning this game. And it's I will win as long as this game does not end within the next few turns. He can't use his hero power, and this attack feels kind of off. So I'm assuming that at this point I'm going, how can I lose? It's not anymore about what kind of value. So I choose to trade away the mortar team instead of one of the guards. If you go back a little bit, because I think that's the play that a lot of people are questioning right now.
Yeah, they're questioning when he swings in here, you guards, why don't you block with both of the guards, keep the mortar alive?
So at this point, I am quite confident in my ability to just close out the game. You can just, like, my hand is very stacked. I have 2 Steel Sentients. I just have a lot of value. And if you pause right here, what I had to ask myself was, how do I lose? And the main thing is, if he's got Ray of Righteousness or Arrow Barrage, my Seluxio is dead. And then he would be able to rearm both creatures or one creature, regardless of if I kill it or not. I did do a math error, because I was assuming that he would be able to Touch of Light as well, which is another reason to trade away the mortar. But keeping the guard back means that next time he swings in, I can still protect my Timea, even if he has a Ray of Righteousness to remove my Seluxio. Because if he removes my Seluxio, he would go up a lot of health. He would get to almost to 30 health, and he would still have a Cavalry Field Captain against only a Steel Sentient and a Shocked Dwarven Mortar. So I know that the only way he wins at this point is if he Ray of Righteousness my Seluxio. So I'm thinking, okay, how do I play around that? And that's why I decided to keep one guard back, because if he's 4/4 Angel, is able to swing into Timea, he gets 4 health, and he removes my 3/4. So that's my reasoning at that point, because I really know that regardless of how I play, I should win, but there is one small chance that he finds a way to come back. Because if he clears the board at that point, if he just keeps swinging with his temples, I would need to trade with my Steel Sentients, because I wouldn't be able to accumulate enough drones to have them 4/4s or 5/4s. I mean 5/5s. There was a lot of questions in Twitch chat why I did that, so that's nice to cover.
I don't think anybody in the chat knew why you did it, and it was a really smart reason that I would not have even thought of. And I think this is the moment where Zadaric gracefully resigns, and you become the Masters Champion. How did that feel?
That was because up until exactly this point, I was still like, it still felt like I was going to lose. I'm not sure why, because I knew that I should win this game, but I just had this feeling that this, like, when I lost the previous game, like, this is how I lose.
Right.
Like I get the turn skip, and now there's like no way I can, without sounding extremely salty, say no, I should have won. You know?
Right. And now we get to see team leader Halyal battling it out here, and he does get the victory. I should not make fun, because I did not even manage to qualify for Masters this time around. So everybody that made it, Thrashman, Halyal, all the way up to you and Zadaric at the top, deserves a lot of credit for putting in the long hours and the hard work it takes to qualify for the tournament. And you, most of all, Three, for winning the whole thing. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
anything you want to share in closing? Any words of wisdom or advice for folks out there?
I suppose it's like, don't ever like give up on the meta, because the Enoch deck did not exist like there was a few people who had tried to do similar things, and the artifact deck did not really exist in the top 10 meta on ladder. And just because that's stagnated does not mean that there aren't more decks to find.
Yeah.
And sometimes you find a gem somewhere.
Do you have an idea of what's the next deck you're gonna find?
I've been really interested in making some other decks happen with Parallel Evolution. They're like copying your opponent's creature is an effect that I really would like to find a way to utilize, but I haven't yet. There's tons of more interactions with other cards, like Powerless Incarnate. You give him a 0-speed creature if he doesn't have Dominion.
Yeah.
And it's just a really fun card that I would like to keep working with, but at the moment I haven't found anything reasonable or viable.
All right, well, I'm excited to see what you come up with. You always come up with the most interesting decks. Usually ones
bad.
Well, not bad. Usually ones that only you know how to play well, which I appreciate in particular because they are complicated and they require a lot of thinking and a lot of decision making. But you certainly very much deserved this tournament here, 3. And good job keeping the championship within the Shrining family. I hope that some of these other teams will start to develop. If you're out there and thinking about creating a team, you should do it. It really takes nothing other than just messaging some people in game and saying you want to be on a team with me, and then you hop on Skype or you hop on Discord and you start talking about the game. It makes it a lot more fun. I have certainly enjoyed.
I played it solo for like a long time, and after actually joining a team, before that you had these few people that you discussed the game with, but just being in a team chat, there's always someone to talk to. There's always someone to like discuss things or test things, and it's really helpful. Leading up to Masters, like I would never have this Enoch deck if I wouldn't have managed to like fine tune it if I didn't have teammates that went through that process with me.
Went through the miserable process of losing to you over and over and over and over again. But it was
at first people didn't lose though. I think years got like the last time when I had fine tuned the deck enough to just destroy creature decks.
I forced you to play me against one turn heal just so I could get a win.
Oh yeah. I mentioned that in my deck tech. There's literally no way to win.
No.
I think there's like I say that's like 0.05, but I think it might be even less than that.
Yeah, there's just no way to beat one turn heal with that list.
Yeah.
Well, thanks y'all. I think you can look forward to deck techs from 3 going up on our channel. At some point, I'm a Hoppy is going to make a deck tech of the many decks that he has brought into the metagame. I think we might even see Hall y'all be posting a video. He talks about it.
Oh yeah, the Sprouts one, yeah.
Yeah,
because I mentioned that as well. I don't really feel like I'm comfortable doing a deck tech on that deck. It's too much of a tempo deck that kind of I get stressed out knowing I don't have a late game, so I don't enjoy playing it that much.
Yeah.
That was the Adrock game. Yeah.
Yeah, and if Hall actually ever makes a video, that will be pretty impressive because he talks about making videos much more than he actually makes videos. So
he's talked about a lot of videos.
Yeah, and if you've listened this long, keep an eye out. I think we're working on some sort of tournament in addition to Masters that hopefully the Shrining team and a few other teams can invite the whole player base into. So keep an eye out for that. For now, this is Vanguard in 3 and the new Masters Champion signing off.
Yeah.